A very good afternoon. Let's now begin Why Buy My Book, where brand new authors pitch their debut books to you. We hope that all our readers enjoy these fresh ideas and let them convince you to buy their books. Let's listen to them now. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Anirudh Singh, author of the book Operation Dire, the story you wish was true. So, as an introduction, I would like to tell you that this book is a historical fiction which revolves around the aftermath of the Jallianwala Bagh massacre. Now, you must be thinking, okay, so this is just another book on Jallianwala Bagh massacre. What's new? Well, let me tell you what's new. With this book, you will experience patriotism pumping in your veins in a whole new level. While writing this book, I experienced a sense of redemption, and uh, I felt myself relieved from the encumbrance I had experienced since the day I had learned about this incident in our history. And I hope that if by reading this book you feel that slightest sense of redemption, then I think my job is done. So while writing this book, I came across many political and social issues and incidents. What I did that while researching for this book, I decided to mold these facts and incorporate them in my book, in my story, so as to give a sense of authenticity to this piece of literature. For example, when General Dyer returned to London after he was forced to take an early retirement from India, he was welcomed there with open arms. He was welcomed there as a hero, and he was even given the title of the savior of India. Another interesting thing I would like to add about this book is that it has two POVs. One POV is of Amanveer Singh, the protagonist, who is a fictional character, and the second POV is of the antagonist, that is General Dyer. And both these POVs run parallel to each other throughout the book, which is something very interesting and unique to read. Okay, so now I'll be going to read an excerpt from my book, and this is from the part where General Dyer is coming back to London, and this is from his point of view. So, as we stepped down closer to the ground, I saw some faces smiling with sparkly eyes, as if they were shouting with joy. The guard, who was going to piss in his pants at any moment now, came closer to me and said, "Well, if I might not be able to take you home, this crowd seems willing to carry you all the way." It didn't make much sense to me. I was getting more and more curious to come down and get a whiff of all this. My pace increased, even though it hurt a little in my knee with every jerky step I took. But my curiosity was growing stronger. I stopped for a moment and stepped aside to listen to what they were shouting. "Long live the savior of India! Long live our knight!" I heard the crowd cheering. So that's it. I hope you liked my video, and I hope you like this book even more. And buy my book so that you and I can rewrite our history.
Hi, I'm Aparna Devgiri and I'm speaking to you from my home in Bangalore. I'm a first time author, and in March this year, that is 2021, I released my first book, The Professional Woman's Handbook Navigating Choices for Success. This book is in three parts. The first part is really a workbook for the professional woman to reflect on what she wants out of life. So there are a series of questions for her to answer. Uh, Very simple but very deep. The second portion is the professional woman's toolkit, which talks about 6 tools that the professional woman can use to be more effective. And the last part of the book is around the professional woman's context. What is the workplace like for the professional woman today? And as you can see, there are some beautiful illustrations, and the art has been done by Devasmita Dasgupta, who's a wonderful illustrator, and it was fantastic collaborating with her, who is based out of Singapore. Now, I'd like to read to you some excerpts, a few paragraphs from the preface of the book to give you an idea of what the book is really all about. Preface. Life, it seems, is all about success. All our lives, we try to be the best. Get into a good school, get good marks, go to a good college, get a good job, and then maybe earn a promotion or two. That's the general map on the professional front. Along the way, personal life evolves as well. We get married, have kids, and then aspire for their success too. We deal with the joy, guilt, satisfaction, and pain of our choices and go on making more. Some of us, at some point in our lives, wonder whether we made the right choices. What did we gain? What did we lose? But more often than not, we set the questions aside and continue with our routine activities. Usually, the questions fade into the background and we move on. These life questions arise because we haven't actively thought about our professional definitions of success, choices, and actions. We have mostly reacted to what has been thrown at us, guided by some influencers like our parents, friends, or partner. Though their intentions may be noble, what works for them may not work for us or for the time that we live in. And because we haven't given ourselves time to figure out our own path, we end up second guessing our every move. What if professional women had a practical, insightful guide that would help them think through their priorities and make the right choices for themselves? Hence, this book, which is not just about reading someone else's experiences, but reflecting on one's own life and finding and documenting a new path for oneself. So the book, as I said, is full of reflective stories. There are a lot of experiences shared here, and I'm sure many of you will resonate with this. Do get in touch if you have any questions, and do buy the book. Thank you.
Hi, dear readers. My name is Abhishek, and I am writer of this particular book, Possessed and the Other Tales of the Dark. I am here today to tell you that why you should read this book. Now, there are exactly 4 specific reasons. Okay, the very first reason is that you have spent money behind it, and I promise to return each and every penny of your investment in form of entertainment. Second thing is that though the stories are fictional, but they are heavily inspired by true life events, either some of which I came across personally or something which I came to hear from different mouths. So you're going to find an element of truth somewhere in these stories. These stories are very different from the regular horror stuff which you read. It does not have blood and gore, not much. Okay. Every story has got a human connect with it. And you will be, when you read these stories, you're going to feel those stories. So, as I was telling you, that this book is going to make you think. And apart from that, it has got twists. The stories have twists, my dear friends. And each twist is going to make you look at the story or revisit the story in a different perspective. So, please do read the book and give me your honest feedback. Just to give you a glimpse of my writing, I'll just read a part of the title story, that is Possessed. Okay. So, I don't know when I went back into deep slumber. Suddenly, I felt something bending over me and whispering something in my ears. I opened my eyes. It was still dark and nobody was around. The room was empty. I thought that the police constable snoring on the chair probably had gone out to relieve himself. I closed my eyes. This time I clearly saw a hooded face and heard a distinct voice. Get him. I opened my eyes again. The room was still empty. And then I saw it. A tall, magnificent black stallion with long flowing manes was standing just outside the window of the room and was looking directly in my eyes. Its eyes were shining like marbles, and I could notice drops of some dark, glowy liquid oozing out through the corner of its eyes. I tried to shout. My voice got muffled inside my throat. Suddenly, I saw a dark silhouette on my chest. The hooded face bent and came very near to my eyes. Apart from two empty sockets of his eyes, I could not see anything else. I did not feel his weight. He repeated his words, which were, get him. I felt they were coming out from somewhere deep inside a long tunnel. And then his weight started increasing. I started feeling an enormous pain rising in my chest. One of my ribs gave in, and I heard its cracking sound. I opened my mouth. Something from inside me was rushing out. I felt my life was being sucked out. So, thank you, readers. I hope you enjoy this book and do give me your feedback. Thank you once again.
What it is like being born as a girl child in the 50s and 60s of rural India. Find out in my book, Anandi. Anandi is a heartwarming story of an extraordinary girl who thought and lived ahead of her time. She had the awareness to question the evils of the society. She displayed courage to stand against the backwardness of people's mentality. She knew the importance of education and she valued being independent and self reliant. Despite playing all the roles in her life at various stages, she never stopped being a woman and cherishing that fact. Anandi is not only a story, but it is an experience to connect today's young generation to the reality of their desired society and to several aspects like the rural environment several decades ago. Generations trying to find their existence in the cities, people's mentality, women's place in society, and how things have changed in the societal structure and environment for women, especially, and have things changed at all. I would like to read an excerpt from the book. एक लड़की जिसका विवाह हो रहा हो और जो संपूर्ण गांव में अवलोकन का केंद्र बनी हो, उसकी लज्जा और आत्मसम्मान से बढ़कर क्या शुद्ध और अशुद्ध है, यह बात आनंदी की समझ से बाहर थी। मानवीय संवेदना का प्रतीक ग्रामीण परिवेश जहां भारतवर्ष बसता है और वह देश जिसे स्वतंत्र हुए 2 दशक से ऊपर बीत चुके थे, परंतु संरचनात्मक एवं सांस्कृतिक परिवर्तन अभी भी धीमी गति से सिसकता हुआ चल रहा था। ऐसे में वर्ष 1968 में एक साधारण से गांव में अपने विवाह समारोह की चमक के बीच आनंदी हतप्रभ थी। आनंदी अपने समय से हटकर और वक्त से आगे सोचने की समझ रखती थी और विवाह को लेकर ग्रामीण परिवेश की कुंठित मानसिकता उसके पल्ले नहीं पड़ रही थी। The book is an illustrative symbol of women empowerment, as quoted by one of the prominent media houses of the country. The book is available on Amazon worldwide. It is available in both paperback and ebook. Grab a copy today, read the book, and share your experience. Thank you so much.
This book is about a protagonist who's about 30, going on 40, who takes the big, bold decision of taking a backseat, of following her husband, leaving her high flying, bustling career to look after her kids, her family, and her home. Not an easy decision at all, not in today's times. This was a topic that a lot of women in today's times face of making a choice that is not easy, a choice that is not simple. To give up their careers, to give up power, to money, the position, to come and look after something that you have made out of love. That is something that requires a lot of guts. This book takes the journey of one such woman, of her ups and downs, of her joys and happiness, of moving continents, of her life through these 8 years, of two children that came into her life, all of this with a happy face. But at the same time, an emotional bandwagon where she looks at her peers, where she looks at people all around her, gets that feeling that, oh my God, everybody's moving ahead but me. But then at the same time, she sticks to her decision. But the story does not end here. It really talks about how she comes back full circle, how she follows her passion, returns back with a bang to a career, at the same time getting the support of her children, of her family who really wants her to come out and do well. It is that entire story that makes it so relatable. What inspired me to write this book? Everything. You inspired me to write this book. I inspired myself to write this book. It is about our journeys. But what this book does is look at it differently. Look at it from a very, very relatable perspective, from an emotional perspective, from a story perspective, from experiences, from evidences that happen every single day. The story might be the protagonists, but those situations will definitely get the bell ringing in your head. I'm going to be reading from a chapter from my book called The Routine. I get up at 6:30 a.m., wake the kids up at 6:45 a.m. They protest, yell, don't listen. I try, they don't. I try again, they don't. I yell, they do. I get them ready for school. We call friends to make the bus wait. We run, all four in different strides. We make it. The kids leave for school at 7:30 a.m. Then tea, newspaper. Mr. Macho leaves for office. Then me. I eat fruits, breakfast. I take baths. I talk in between on the phone. I instruct the maid. I sit around. I think. I wonder. What now? As an urban, educated, confident, independent woman, have you realized that life pushes you to certain decisions? Was giving up a bustling career to become a homemaker an emotionally draining transition? After a point, did questions start emerging? Did I take the right decision? Everyone seems more sorted but me. Can I strike a balance between aspirations and home? Between the maid, the pediatric doctor, and dinner assemblies? Is this to be my forever? Presenting experiences of 8 years with two children, one husband, loads of diapers, school changes, continent movement, family extensions, ups and downs, one constant factor, me. A candid narrative interspersed with a humorous take on relationships, this memoir is like a diary well kept. A journey of growing up as a wife, mother, and individual, of attaining the full circle. Welcome to my world. It's as curated as it can get, yet uncurated for most parts.
Hi everyone, I am Madhavilata Pratikudupu, author of this book Swimming Against the Tide. Who is Madhavilata? I am a banker, a sports person, a sports administrator, a blogger, a fitness advocate, a public speaker, and now an author. If you told 5-year-old me this is what I would grow up to be, I would have never believed you. You see, I come from a remote village in Telangana. When I was 7 months old, I had a massive polio attack, which left me paralyzed from the shoulder down. Though my parents were of humble means, they refused to give up on me. Their greatest wealth is their patience and their love. They gave me wings to live life on my own terms. This book is about my life, my journey navigating through basic infrastructure in schools, colleges, and more importantly, people's mindsets and misconceptions about disabilities. Fighting for a spark for myself in professional space, and finally, my beautiful and life-changing tryst with sports. A near-death situation led me to discover hydrotherapy, which eventually led me to become a national para-swimming champion. Following this, I started a movement called Yes, We Too Can to encourage my fellow persons with disabilities to find their wings through sports. I later went on to co-found the Paralympic Swimming Association of Tamil Nadu and Wheelchair Basketball Federation of India. Through these sports entities, we have been able to introduce swimming and wheelchair basketball to more than 1,000 persons with disabilities. All these experiences made me more determined to fulfilling the dream of creating a more inclusive society closer to reality. This is my maiden attempt to write a book. And this is the first book written by a woman para swimmer in India and also the first book on wheelchair basketball in India. As I wrote this book, I began to get a bird's eye view of my life. I began to relive every challenge I faced and realized how each one led to opportunities to learn new skills and explore my potential in different fields. But what I am thrilled to realize is that my worry and even my despair never stopped me from moving forward. I have always tried to challenge myself, my abilities, my perceptions, and the perceptions of others. Recently, when I gave a virtual talk at a Mexican college, the moderator and the organizer of the program told me that he got confidence to organize that international webinar after reading my book. It gave me such a deep sense of pleasure to realize that what I had set out to do had already begun to come true. Many of my friends from different fields told me that they remembered their experiences while reading mine. I'm so honored that people connect with my story. Being a person with a disability, I have observed that there is a huge gap between the perceptions of people towards the persons with disabilities and the aspirations of my fellow persons with disabilities. That's why I decided to pen my experiences, to do my bit to bridge this gap, and to share life lessons I learned in my journey to become a self advocate. Through my story, I believe readers see life and its challenges through a different lens, and I sincerely hope they will imbibe important messages not only for themselves but also to use those messages to promote inclusive society. You may be a parent or a child, a corporate or government official or a homemaker, a teacher or a student, a sports person or a sports administrator. Whoever you are, I can assure you that you will find something useful to take away from my story. Because this story is not just mine, it's the story of the many people who have stood with me, supported me, and the many nameless, faceless people who still go through these challenges in being accepted and included in society even today. After reading my story, you will realize I am like a catalyst who brings people together and encourages them to complement each other's skills and abilities to make a positive difference in the society. If your intentions are for good, the entire universe will be with you. I hope you enjoy reading Swimming Against the Tide.
Maya and the Sword of Gringak is a book published by Loxley Hall Publishing in association with the Bookbakers. It's my debut novel, and the story explores the tale of a 13-year-old ordinary girl who comes to learn about her legacy of being the protectors of Earth. This is the first part in the three series book. The first part, this book explores her adventures, how she makes new friends, and comes to know of some very interesting prophecies. Flooded with relief, Maya ran to her father to give him a hug. He took her into his arms, but he did not let go of his sword. Her father was still in the clothes he had been wearing when they left their home and looked completely disheveled. But Maya didn't care. He was back and alive. They quickly broke away to face Varna and her cohorts. Varna stared at them with what could only be described as disgust. You trivias are so damn sloppy. I mean, come on, seriously. You dropped your weapon to hug your father? How touching. Your little family reunion is more important than your best friend's life? Not every family is like yours, understandably. They didn't care for you because you turned out so bitter, Maya snapped. Two people could play at this game. Was it meant to hurt me? Good try. Unlike you, my purpose in life is much bigger than these tiny moments. I aim higher, you see. Maya's father cut her short. You talk too much. Hand over Anaya, or none of you will be alive to tell the tale of your heroics. We can go our separate ways if you leave now. Varna drew her sword again. I didn't ask for forgiveness. Then you did better leave the kids alone or fight with me till one of us falls forever. Maya's father said, moving forward. Let's kill you then and grant your wish. She smiled spitefully. Maya's father immediately swung his sword at Varna, who swerved sharply to the side, causing him to miss a few inches. As if on cue, remaining Trivia and Higiri flew at each other. The only one left rooted to his spot was Dhruvesh, who didn't move from his place next to Anaya. Maya wasn't sure whether he was trying to protect her or stop her from escaping. I think you should buy the book Maya and the Sword of Gringak because it promises adventure and also gives you a glimpse into all the possibilities that life can offer. So I hope you enjoyed the book, and I'm sure it will take you on a great adventure. Thank you.
Hi everyone, my name is Nahid Feroz Patel and I'm the author of A Mirror Made of Rain, my debut novel that came out with HarperCollins India in May 2021. Here it is. Um, A Mirror Made of Rain is a coming of age novel that would appeal to fans of shows like Fleabag or movies like Promising Young Woman, as it follows the life of a very messy, a very fragmented, and not very self aware main character named Numi. And the fulcrum of the novel is Numi's relationship with her family, which is, you know, far from perfect. And she has a mother who is, for many reasons, unable to really be a mother for her, and a father who is very loving, very permissive, but is unable to kind of establish boundaries in what is a very conservative small town, a very gossipy little town. And it is about how Numi kind of negotiates these various elements. And the novel really kind of shows us how we are encouraged by society to see each other through each other's eyes, and we are all mirrors of each other. And also it kind of asks the question of who we are really when we're not being seen through the eyes of others. um, I think while writing the novel there were many things that I wanted to talk about and I wanted the reader to think about. I definitely, the novel is not an easy read. I think it'll make the reader bump up against the limits of their empathy quite a bit, but if you stick with it, I think it'll show you something about yourself, because at the end of the day I really wanted my main character Numi to be a mirror and kind of have readers ask the question of themselves that, you know, what are the limits of my empathy, what can I, you know, how comfortable am I with the other. And I hope that, you know, by going on Numi's journey with her and following along as she makes a lot of mistakes and does a lot of stupid things, that the reader will find out something about themselves as well as this very messy and complicated character. So I really hope that you will pick up a copy of Mirror Made of Rain, Mirror Made of Rain, and that you will enjoy it. Thank you so much. Hi, my name is Neena Desai, and I'm the author of my debut novel, State of Grace. I live in Seattle, but I'm originally from Mumbai, and the novel is also set in these two of my favorite cities, Mumbai and Seattle. So, what is State of Grace about? Well, it's a story about a young girl, Ria, whose world is suddenly destroyed by a betrayal of a loved one. And she flees as far as she can with her broken heart. There she meets the love of her life, Kevin. But can you love without being vulnerable? Can you forgive without letting go? It is a story which is told through strong women characters. And it is a story about love, about tenderness, about grace, about hope, and about friendship. It's also a story about forgiveness. So, if you want to read a light, beautiful, tender story, I would recommend State of Grace. I will now read a couple of pages to give you an idea about the book. He had been an avid reader all his life, and his interests were varied. He had memorized most of the Hindu holy scriptures and read in 5 languages, including one book every year by a Nobel laureate for literature. At 73, he underwent a cataract operation in his right eye. His left eye had been too weak to operate on. When the bandages were removed, his right eye did not allow any light to pass through, thus rendering him almost blind. 3 weeks after the operation, when it was confirmed that there was nothing that the doctors could do, to better the situation, he made a decision. He called his wife and his 3 daughters and their husbands. He told them he had lived a good life. He had been very happy with all that had come his way, that he loved everyone, but now he did not wish to live any more. He did not want to depend on anyone due to his blindness, and there was nothing more he could give to anyone in the family. All who had gathered around his bed that evening assumed he was depressed due to the loss of his eyesight. They consoled him and told him that his granddaughters would be his constant companion and that they would read any scripted words his heart desired, and that his daughters and his son in laws were at his disposal. They tried to convince him that his wife needed him more than anyone else. They also tried to cajole and convince him, all except his wife. Nani remained silent, for she knew that though they all needed him, he needed no one. She had been married to him for 57 years and had loved him for even more than that, but she knew he needed no one. He had loved her. He had loved and protected all that was in his realm of consciousness, and yet he was not one of them. It was as if he had covered himself with some invisible ointment that did not allow anything or anyone to stick to him. She had known this early in their life together, in their courting, in his wooing of her, in their fights, in their love-making, that there was a part of him that she could not touch, no one could. Time and again she had felt him withdraw into that part, that cool shade where she could not reach him, no matter how hard she tried. That was the story about Nana, one of the characters in the book, and Nana and Nani's life together. What happens next? For that, you have to read the book. I hope you enjoy reading the book as much as I enjoyed writing it. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. I'm Priya Sethi, author of Summons from the Creator. First and foremost, thank you, Pune Literary Fest, for including me in Why Buy My Book Forum. Summons from the Creator is a tale of revelations and growing up. It weaves together a coherent story of the present as well as the past lives of the young and successful woman Amiya Ghosh. Amiya is a victim to anxiety and depression. While taking treatment for her problems, she stumbles upon the therapy of past life regression, a process which taps the subconscious memory of a person by way of hypnosis. These past life regression sessions reveal bittersweet sweet truths about Amiya's existence. When you pick this book, you'll be sucked into Amiya's world as if you're watching a movie. The language is simple and lucid, and it is a perfect weekend read. Filled with suspense, mystery, and also a hint of romance, Summons from the Creator is a way to unwind and relax. Not just entertainment, but as you reach towards the end of Amiya's story, it will encourage you to ponder upon and ask questions to yourself. And perhaps you may also find answers to them that may be bothering you for a long time. Many times we tend to question ourselves. Why me? Why am I in this situation? What have I done to land up in this mess? Am I doing something wrong? Sometimes you feel an instant connection to a person, or at times you detest a person from the very beginning for no rhyme or reason. Why does this happen? The reason lies within ourselves and our connections at a much deeper level. I have made a humble attempt to simplify and make heavy topics like karma and reincarnation entertaining as well as thought provoking. Do give yourself a chance to take that journey inwards, to explore your own mind, to get awed by its vastness. More than anything else, enjoy this short roller coaster ride with Amiya, Anurag, and Anand. Now I would go on to read a few lines from my book. This is the time where Amiya is being summoned by the creator. Bearing witness to the whole scene was Amiya standing silently in the corner of the ICU, looking at herself lying on the bed, all wired up. She sympathized with Anurag, who bravely faced not only her mother, but Kriti too at the same time. She knew it was a tough task, especially in the given situation. At the same time, she had this terrifying thought: am I dead? It was a strange but a pure and a light feeling. Amiya was almost weightless, as if all the baggage had been removed from her. However, the ECG machine attached to her through her fingertip showed a steady heartbeat. So she was still alive. As she wondered how was this possible, she saw a man in yellow robes walk up to her. He was not walking, but gliding swiftly. He stood in front of her with his head bowed and hands locked in front of him. You have been summoned. Please come with me, he said in a deep voice. This is how Amiya was summoned to the Creator. What happens next? Do pick a copy of Summons from the Creator and reveal. Thank you for a patient hearing.
Thank you so much for this wonderful session. We wish good luck to our authors for their first book and their future endeavors. We thank our debut authors for being guests at PILF. Next, we have a very interesting discussion on between dream and reality. Join us for the same at 3:30 p.m. Thank you.